just because you're on one path doesn't mean you need to stay on that path.
Mm,
Just because your life looks like it's going in one direction, that doesn't mean that you need to keep following it. You can always change your mind, change your path. You can
yeah.
always change what your life looks like, so don't be afraid to try it.
Today's guest on Run It Back is Kristen Kelman, a podiatric medical student, ultramarathoner, and advocate for student parents. After transitioning from a career in financial technology to medicine following a life-changing personal experience, she's now the class president at Rosalind Franklin University and co-founded the university's Parents Network, the first student-run organization supporting parents in U.S. medical schools. A nationally recognized endurance athlete, Kristen is also the 2021 RRCA 50-mile national champion and continues to compete at an elite level while balancing medical school and motherhood. Please welcome Kristen Kelman.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Tell us where you are in the world and just a little bit about yourself.
Sure, sure. So currently, my family and I are living in a suburb outside of Chicago, Illinois, where I am about to start my second year of podiatric medical school. A little bit about me. Up until 2020, I was working in financial technology. And in 2020, I decided to leave that career behind and go back to school because I wanted to become a physician. So I went back, completed all of my requirements to apply to medical school, took my MCAT, had my daughter, and now my family is out here in Chicago becoming a doctor.
Yes, we love that. Oh my gosh, you're so incredible, doing a lot. So coming from finance tech into podiatric medicine and
Mhm.
then becoming a mom, that seems like that all happened in just like a quick blip of time as life does, right? Tell me
It
like why
did. It did.
transition from finance tech to podiatry?
Sure. So I decided to make that switch because of something bad that had happened to me. With my very first pregnancy, it ended in a miscarriage.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
my husband and I were on vacation in rural Utah at the time, and we had to travel 2 hours from the town we were staying at to the closest hospital. And when we got there, I was in a place that I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything. Like I had my husband with me. I didn't really know what was happening to me. And the doctor that we saw there, um, changed my life. Like he couldn't do anything for me. But he told me it was going to be okay. He talked me through it. He told me what was happening. He saw me again in the clinic, a few days later. And he made me think, you know, what I'm doing is great. But I think I could be doing a little bit more to help people directly. And so I kind of sat on that and chewed on that for a while. And 6 months later, I applied to University of Maryland to go get my post back to apply to medical school.
Wow. That is like, so just an inspiration from somebody that was helping you when something terrible happened. And that's brought you over to your career now or your journey now into medicine.
Yeah, yeah. He when he was helping me, like he, he made me feel like it was going to be okay. And my
Right.
thought was, if I can make somebody else feel that way,
Wow.
that would be a life that would be well lived for me. And I didn't really feel like that in my prior career, so I took a leap of faith and I went for it.
What was it specifically that, he made you feel like he made you feel safety, like he had wonderful bedside manner, but it was also the fact that, there's going to be more life to be had after this?
I think it was that in the long run, I was gonna be all right. Like in the very worst moments of your life, you think like, how is this gonna get any better? How am I gonna get any better? How am I gonna move on from this?
Mhm.
And he kind of made sure, that I personally was gonna be okay, that my relationship with my husband was gonna be okay, and that we were gonna be just fine. And when
Mhm.
he said it, I believed him.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing for somebody. And I want to make other people feel that way.
I love that. We need more people like you. So thank you so much for,
Thank you.
your path into medicine. Why podiatry?
So, outside of work, I've always been a big runner. I was a road runner until 2020, and then I found the trails, and I never really looked back. I'm a huge ultra runner. Love the 100-mile races, 50-mile races, and when I heard about podiatry, I thought, oh my gosh, I can be a doctor and I can, help with people's feet, get them back walking, get them back running, get them back into nature, or even just get them back doing day-to-day activities. You walk all the time, you don't really think about it. A lot of people out there think about it with every step. And so for me, that was huge. Learning that I could do those two things together.
Yeah.
And being a podiatrist is a super, super cool job, all the way around. You get to work on so many different things. You get to try out so many different things, and you get to do surgery. So I think it's a fantastic profession.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you so much for your work because it helps people like me. One of my favorite shoes is ultra running shoes. They're the wide toe box, and it's been absolutely incredible
Hmm.
for my feet. So you're absolutely right about podiatry being um, a very integral part of running and the longevity of a runner's career. You mentioned that you were a trail runner, but not just a minor one, y'all. I have to read this. Okay. Kristen is a competitive ultramarathoner that was named 2021 RRCA 50-mile national female champion. Okay. And in 2025, just last year, she recorded a 100-mile time of 18 hours, 39 minutes, and 6 seconds, ranking as the 83rd fastest female time in the United States for that year. Okay, that's just like not like a little side like thing that you're doing. You're well accomplished in that space. How do you how do you put the two worlds together?
I
How do you manage your time, I guess is more my question. Like how do you do both?
So that is the challenge. So
And
last year,
motherhood.
well,
Yeah.
so before I went to podiatry school, I took 6 months and I only worked 2 days a week. And I was working as a medical assistant. And I thought, I'm gonna try to run as much as I can and race as much as I can and do all those races that I've always wanted to do, but I never got a chance to do before I go into podiatry school. So that's when I did the CNO 100-miler, and it worked out really well for me. Since I started school, it's been a lot more difficult. Medical school is not for the weak. It takes a lot of time and a lot of sacrifice. And so every run that I do, I have to like plan out in advance.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't have lecture until 9 o'clock this morning. Maybe between when I drop my daughter off at daycare and I start class, I can go for a really quick run. I've gotten some of the students in our class into running as well. There's like a little beach that's a 2.5-mile run from campus. So once a week, we all do beach run together. We all kind of jog down there and hang out on the beach for a little bit, and then we run back to school. So I'm trying to incorporate running in the little bits and pieces that I can,
Mhm.
and help it give me like a little bit of a break and a little bit of sanity
Yeah.
while I'm still in school.
You have like time for a quick run, but for ultra running, you sometimes need to be out there for a couple hours on a training run, or how do you normal like say pre going into podiatry, what does like a training day actually look like? And then what does that time actually look like now? So give us some context to what a quick run is. Because for me, as a middle distance runner, a quick run is like a 30-minute run, okay?
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's all relative. So, before I started medical school, I would go out and I would probably spend like 6 or 8 hours out in the mountains on the trail. I'm not moving nearly as fast as you do, but I'm
You're out
out
there.
there.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you pack a lunch in your bag and you just kind of like meander through, and it's a
Mhm.
great time.
Mhm.
Now it's a little different. I don't have that much time. I am very fortunate that there is one other student in our medical school who is an ultra runner. So by default, we are now training partners. And he and I get up and go at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. because most people don't study too much on Saturday mornings. So
Mhm.
we'll run for 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday morning, and then we'll go into class.
Right.
So am I undertrained for most races now? Yes, I am undertrained, but I'm still out there doing it.
You
Uh,
have other components of training, your life. So what I always say in training is the body recognizes stress as stress. So you have a different toolbox that you get to use for your training. So undertrain by way of how many miles I'm putting on the legs, sure. But you know, by other tools that you have in your toolbox, I think you got it.
no, you're so right. And like sleep deprivation doesn't bother me as much
Yep.
now as it used to. It's like that's fine, I really don't need to sleep anyway. You know, uh,
I love that. And I love
um,
when you were saying I make some of our post lectures into training runs. I'm like, imagine your professor's like, for today's lecture, and then everyone has got to go for a run while you tell them about the lecture. I mean, that's legendary.
yeah, it's we try not to talk about school on the run, but it it,
Okay.
it creeps in a little bit. Professors do see us leaving, they see us coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a nice group of people. They're not, they're not running to train for races. They're
Right.
just running for their own mental health. And I love that aspect of running, and I never would have found that if I hadn't come to medical school.
You're talking about yourself in podiatry and your professors kind of witnessing your journey. Do they know much about your journey and like much about your experience and why you're motivated into medicine? Is that something that professors usually connect with their students on? And how does that help you?
Yeah, so when I interviewed for medical school, I asked every school I interviewed at, I asked, what support do you have for parents? Because for me as a parent, um, I'm gonna need some things that other people don't. But I also have strengths that other people don't because I am a parent.
Mhm.
So I did ask, the questions. I'm very lucky where I go to school. There's several other moms in my class. The professors know that we're all parents.
Mhm.
They know some of my journey that took me to get here. They know I'm an older student. People often mistake me for a professor. Um,
Mhm.
but they've been so supportive and so helpful, and they hold me to the standard that I need to be held to be a successful physician and surgeon. But they also understand that I am a parent. Like I have structural support needs that other people may not need. So it's been a really great environment. I'm really fortunate.
Oh, that's so great to hear because not everybody has that. And oftentimes we're looking for extended support and we have to over explain ourselves when we need some more support. And it's encouraging to hear that there are other parents that are also in your cohort. Um, I'm learning that you also created a parents network at your medical school. And I'm wondering if that's like a part of it, just being able to have that sort of sounding board with other people. Tell us more about like why you created that and what the needs that you were trying to address.
Sure, sure. So, yeah, we started the Rosalind Franklin University Parents Network. We have students from all different programs at Rosalind Franklin. We have pharmacy students, medical students. We have some PhDs in our program, and then we have podiatry students. And it really came about because my big, they assign us like bigs in school. She's younger than me, but she's a year ahead of me. And she had two kids also. And she said, man, we really like, we're all the parents are hearing different things. We really need a way to make sure that parents have the resources that they need, and also to know that there are other parents out there.
Mhm.
Because you feel so alone and so isolated sometimes. Like, oh man, I'm the only one dealing with this. Like no
Mhm.
one else in my class was up half the night trying to potty train their kid
Mhm.
unsuccessfully. Um, but then you find out that there are other people out there. They're going through the same thing. So we really kind of grabbed that idea and created this network. So what we've done right now, there's about a dozen of us. And
Wow.
we've created a list of resources within the school that parents can have access to. And even more than that, just exchanging names and phone numbers and contact information and how old are your kids? When I went to potty train my daughter, like I got to talk to somebody else who was potty training her kid as a pharmacy student at the same time. Like having
Mhm.
that shared experience is incredible. It's so relieving to know that other people are out there doing the same thing. You're not alone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that message. That's so true. Like there's many journeys sometimes converge to the same pathway, and it's helpful for you to be able to walk that path together. What surprised you most about becoming like a medical student as I mean, you're sharing other people's stories and like you guys are sharing stories together, but I'm just curious, like what surprised you most about becoming a medical student? Like what do you often share?
Well, I haven't been in school in a while. Like I graduated from undergrad in 2010, and school now is so different.
Yeah.
Like I didn't own an iPad when I started school, like at the
You're like,
risk of sounding like a dinosaur, It was like, so I have really good friends that are like, girl, you need to get an iPad. Like, here, download all the notes, take all these pictures.
yeah.
Like this is how you use all these different tools. So for me, just kind of getting back into the grind of being a student and having all these resources, and also, learning how to balance that time with my family.
Hmm.
Um, this is going to sound terrible, but at the beginning, I was spending too much time with my family. And I was passing, but not by a lot. And
Yeah.
I kind of had to sit down and be like, okay, I didn't drag my family all the way out, from DC to Illinois,
Hmm.
make my poor husband like relocate to a place that he doesn't know anyone. Like I didn't do all that to get C's.
Yeah.
So I really had to find a study buddy, buckle down, get in the library, and just live there,
Hmm.
to do what I needed to do.
Definitely. But what you're experiencing and what you named is what many mothers face. It's like the guilt of like, oh, I've got to be there for every moment. If I'm not there for every moment, then they're not going to know who I am. And the truth is not that at all. It's like, they get an opportunity to see you becoming who, you're striving to be. So that's pretty awesome that you're able to kind of like restructure that. And I like your framing too of just like, I didn't come all the way out this way for C's. That's spoken like an athlete. It's like, I'm not running all this way. We got to make it
That's
count. So I love that. Is there
that's
some
right.
part of you, like your athlete life, that as an ultra marathoner, that has helped shape the kind of student and doctor that you hope to become?
Oh, 100%. Thank goodness I was an ultra runner before I was a medical student. Because the greatest thing that I learned is that like there's highs and lows. Like there's moments that you're gonna feel great and you're gonna be like, yes, I'm gonna crush this. And
Mhm.
then usually immediately shortly after, there's a moment where you're like, I can't do this. Like, it's
Mhm.
the equivalent of it being 3 a.m. and you being on the side of a mountain and you're out of fuel and your headlamp has died and, you're not sure if
Mhm.
you're on the right trail, but you make it, like, you get it done.
Yeah.
And when that happens to me in medical school, like I failed an exam and, it was kind of like, okay, this is a low. I'm going to recognize it as a low. And then what do I need to do to get myself out of this? Um,
Mhm.
like I have that skill set and I know I can recognize when it's happening, because I'm an ultra runner.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. And you can like help share that with other people, extending that impact that you're already doing with the Parents Network. That is so true. You've got like a different mindset on how you're able to achieve and like push through the tough parts of it, right?
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
about when it hurts, when it really is like, oh, I'm actually super exhausted. Like how do you differentiate the two when it really is time for you to just like take a break and matching back into that mindset of being an athlete and how it's helped you and the doctor that you hope to become, but just like when do you know that what your body is telling you is the right thing versus like what your mind and heart might be like trying to tell you? How do you like, yeah.
Sure, sure. So, I mean, the quick and easy answer to that is, if a bag of nerds clusters can't fix it, it's probably time to take a break. Um, so
I like that. Yeah.
That's the short answer. But the long answer is like any training plan that you do has cutback weeks, right?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of say like, okay, we've been pushing really hard for a week now. When are we going to take some time to ourselves? Like I'm on the edge. I need to step back from the edge. And
Mhm.
having that cutback week in there, or it's not a week in medical school, it's like a half day, but having like recognizing that time and surrounding yourself with people who are doing the same thing as you. Because when you're all sitting in the library together and you're like, hey man, we've been here 12 hours a day for the last 4 days, like I think we're fried, it's time to go get some tacos. We can all stand up and leave, and we'll come
Mhm.
back better people because of it.
Oh, I love that. I love that whole part about cycling because you do that in training. You're right. It's like you're going to have a couple of weeks where you know it's going to be hard, and then you look forward to that rest week that helps you regenerate, recover, and then you can come back fresher and accomplish all the things that you're hoping to accomplish. You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to risk injury and all sorts of, different uh, negative mental side effects if you don't plan in those breaks. So I like that thought process on just structuring. Where in medicine, like you're naming all these components in your life right now that you can tie into the different elements into your life. So you've named that, you can be a better athlete because of what you learn in medicine. Then you can be a better doctor because of what you learn from being an athlete. But then there's also the motherhood component in your life. And I'm wondering, like, this is why you've built the Parents Network. So there were more resources, people who knew that they weren't alone. There's the component that's also necessary for people to look towards support in their pregnancy, in their postpartum period, and, like, during the entire process of matrescence, essentially. And I'm wondering, do you see any gaps? One from the athlete side of things in that whole journey for you in your matrescence, before pregnancy, during pregnancy, after pregnancy. Do you see similar gaps in medicine? Like, of all the things that you're tying together, like when it comes to motherhood, like what are the gaps that you're seeing in those barriers of support, and what do you hope to see differently?
Oh yeah, sure, sure. So that's a great question. So the common thing that I see in medicine and in ultra running is there will always be people that tell you that something's not appropriate for you
Mm.
because you're a mother or because you want to have a family, or because you have a family. And I don't think they do it intentionally in either area, in sports or in medicine. I mean, maybe some people do, but I give people the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
They kind of point out like, oh, some residency programs are not appropriate for people with families.
Mm.
And or hey, you're out here doing these 100-mile runs. Shouldn't you be at home with your family a little bit more? And I think what needs to happen is that there need to be more women doing it. Because
Yeah.
when there are more women doing it, those voices have fewer things to say.
Mm.
Um, and I think that a lot of the times the reasons that people give for like why a program isn't appropriate for you or why a race isn't appropriate for you, um there's structural support issues, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like if you don't have childcare and you can't study for a test, or you don't have childcare and you can't do a race, that's not that you can't do something because you're a mom. That's you can't do
Mhm.
something because you don't have the structural support that you need to be successful. um,
Wow. Mic
I
drop.
think moms make great athletes. We make great endurance runners. We can get through anything.
Yes,
And
that's it.
if we can get through labor,
Period.
we can do anything.
Yes.
And moms make great medical students. We
Yeah.
know the stakes for being there.
Yeah.
Every minute we're there is a minute less we spend with our kid.
Hmm.
So, we are hardworking, we are capable, and I I think if we just had a few more structural support systems in place, then we could do anything.
Mm.
And I'm very lucky that I have a husband who's incredibly supportive of me doing all these crazy things. Um, you know, uh, do I have all the structural support that I need? No. You
Mm.
know, but you gather these little bits and pieces that you can and you hold on to them. And then at the end of the day, you remind yourself that going back to those people who told you what you can and can't do, most of those people have not tried to do, the
Ooh.
things that you're trying to do. So
Mhm.
who are they to tell you you can't do it if they haven't tried? So just try. Just
You
try.
just dropped so many gems right now. I'm just like, I'm gonna need to listen back to this and just over and over and over again, you know.
Oh,
But
thank you. You got me up on my soapbox.
no, 100%. Though the biggest thing that, I heard and that is so true, and obviously experiencing it myself, is like, yeah, we're so capable and motherhood can be a value add, but the lack of infrastructural support makes it much more difficult. Somehow we continue to achieve, but it's not because it was an easy road. And even still, with some structural support, it still is going to be have its challenges, but there can be so much less challenges if we were believed, one, in our capabilities, and that we were also believed when we named what barriers we can eliminate, that could
Mhm.
really help mom along her journey in both her athletic career and her professional career, or just life's ambitions in general. And the other component that I heard was you sharing about just like the visibility aspect, you know, just get out there. We need more moms doing it. What we see is the moms dropping out, whether it's in medicine and their professional careers or just anywhere where we don't expect to see mothers. It's because they've been pushed out because of the lack of infrastructure, and the barriers that exist are too great and the sacrifice is too high. And I just love what you're saying when it just comes to the visibility. It's why I ran 8 months pregnant, as a 5-time national champion. I wanted to make the invisible visible. So thank you for showing up in all the spaces that you do and for naming what you did. And if you can walk away with, have viewers walk away with one message about supporting women pursuing their ambitions, their careers, their athleticism, and their motherhood, what would that be?
I the one thing that I would say is ask how you can help.
Mm,
Just ask how you can help. I guarantee you every mom out there has a big laundry list of things that need to get done. And if you want to support a mom in your life who's trying to do something, you don't have to go to the ends of the earth. If she says, "Hey, can you watch my kid for an hour so that I can get a
mm,
run in?" Or "Hey, I really need to study this weekend. Do you mind coming to my house so that we can study after the kids go to sleep?" Whatever you need to do to support moms, just it can be a little thing. Just give it a try. We're very curious and we're very eager and we really want to see what we can do. So let's go see. Let's go find out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have, you know, um, the next generation of folks listening in to our conversation, and they're going to be women who are, potentially thinking about their motherhood and their career ambitions or athletic ambitions, and maybe wondering like, oh, can I do both my motherhood and in my career? What advice would you give to that person?
The advice I would give is you don't need to be a superhero to take the first step and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Just take one step. And if that step doesn't work for you, you can always step back. But you don't have to go into something, saying, "Oh, I'm going to run 100 miles." Because if you think about that, it's too far.
Yeah.
But you can say, "Okay, I can train for a 5K, then I can train for a 10K," and maybe you'll find your passion somewhere along the way. But being a mom is not going to stop you from doing any of those things. Being a mom is going to make you better at doing those things. So use your resources, be curious, and just give it a try.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thanks for talking to me as well.
Yeah,
I
thank
definitely feel
you.
like, I continuously need to hear that message, and I'm just grateful to be sitting in this space with you today. And it's just been really, really helpful and enlightening. And I'm just really excited about the future of, women just getting after it and doing the doggone thing. So I'm hopeful to just like following your career and just what I can do to continue to make an impact, and seeing you and sharing about your story. I want to know like what keeps you hopeful about the future of women's healthcare.
What keeps me hopeful is
Hmm.
that I look around the class that I'm in and the class that I have, and I see an abundance of representation.
Mm-hmm.
There is representation of all types and people who are interested in all types of medicine.
Yeah.
Um, and seeing that representation in the room um, gives me a lot of hope that when those students get out there as doctors,
Mm-hmm.
um, people are going to identify with everyone in the room, and they're going to resonate with somebody, and then they're going to go see a physician. And that's the biggest thing is, a lot of the times people don't want to go see the doctor. They don't view it as like a fun place to be.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but if you find a doctor that really resonates with you, you're more likely to go see them, and you're more likely to go get help. And that's going to make you a better person.
Mm-hmm.
That is what is encouraging to me is seeing the diversity of future physicians that we have today, and the wide array of backgrounds and lifestyles that they come from. It's really encouraging.
Wow, that's incredible. And you're a part of that legacy. It's incredible to know you and know that you've had an incredible career as a runner, and now you're embarking on a wonderful career as a podiatrist, and you can like have a very special perspective that will help people. And, not only that, like recognizing your journey in motherhood and the differences and the changes that happen with women and their feet, in pregnancy and in their postpartum period. And just having somebody with your experience is going to help so many women, and it's going to leave a long lasting legacy of Kristen helping influence what that actually looks like down the line. So it's not going to look the same. I know that you're going to leave your mark on it. And I'm so curious to see what you do in medicine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to like getting out there, and having an impact, and I really am appreciative of you and everything that you've done as well, for women in the sport. It's not insignificant, and it continues to be recognized. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kristen. It's part of this legacy that we talk about. And as we talk about legacy, I'm curious, like, what is the legacy that you hope to leave?
I hope the legacy that I lead is that just because you're on one path doesn't mean you need to stay on that path.
Mm,
Just because your life looks like it's going in one direction, that doesn't mean that you need to keep following it. Is
hmm.
it harder to change paths, especially as you go farther down one? Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. Um, but you can do it, and you can really make your life look anything like you want it to be. Um, I will tell you, so a couple months ago, I was standing in the cadaver lab holding a scalpel, like trying to find these nerves that I just couldn't find. And it just hit me like I never saw myself. 5 years ago, I would have never seen myself standing in a basement holding a scalpel over a cadaver looking for a nerve,
Very different. Yeah.
with a bunch of, people in their 20s.
Yeah.
It's you can but I'm happier. Like I'm a better
Yeah.
person because of that. So
Mm,
the legacy I want to leave is that, it doesn't matter how far you are down something. You can always change your mind, change your path. You can
yeah.
always change what your life looks like. So don't be afraid to try it.
Ooh, I love that. I love that so much. So what I'm hearing is, you don't have to live your life in a box. You have an opportunity to continue to write your story. And you can always turn the page. It doesn't have to have a period to your story. You can just have ellipses. You could have semicolons, whatever you need. And that's going to be a
That's
part of
right.
your story to keep going. And the other thing that I heard that I think is so important and I'm going to take with me too is just like you celebrating the small wins along the way. Like you're going to think about a 100 miler and that's just too far. I love you just saying, just take it a step at a time and celebrate those small victories. And eventually you're going to get to your end goal some way or another. It may not look the way that envisioned it, but some way or another, you're going to get there. And you're going to pick up some gems along the way, and you're going to meet people along the way, and you're going to expand your network, and you're going to be a part of that, blazing that trail. And I love that so much. And thank you for sharing your voice and your story, Kristen. Before we
You're
go,
welcome. Yeah.
I would love to do a quick rapid fire with you. Are you game?
Sure, let's go.
Here we go. All right. Favorite distance 50K, 50 mile, or 100 miler?
The 50 miler.
The 50 miler. What
Yeah.
is it? What is it that's better about the 50 miler over the 100 or the 50K?
Well, it happens to be the distance that I'm the best at. So there's that.
We love that.
But, but it's short enough that you can do it in a day. You don't have to lose a night of sleep. And you can sleep in your own bed at night. And yeah, it's a quick detour, a not so quick detour, into nature.
Okay, I love that. All right, favorite comfort food.
Oh, I mean, I mentioned the nerds clusters.
I was gonna
It's either
say,
that or the on trail runs. I always have my emergency stash of gummy bears.
mm,
The gummy bears always hit.
I love gummy bears too. I've got to hide them from my kiddos.
Yes,
What's one word that describes medicine?
complex.
Hmm.
There's You don't just treat a problem with a patient, you treat the patient.
Ooh,
And patients are people and people are complex, and that's what makes it really cool.
wow. Feels like you're also talking about motherhood when you say that. But
Fair enough, fair enough.
speaking of which, what's one word that you would describe motherhood?
This might be stereotypical, but I would say hard. It's just hard and and exhausting. I would say hard and exhausting are tied together. But it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
I do love my kid. And I think she's the coolest human being, which every mother says that. But it's really cool to help someone become themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a yes and to all of the things, right? And then what's something you're still trying to get better at?
Taking time for myself.
Mm,
Um, Yeah, especially, I shave little bits of myself off here and there, because like, oh, my family hasn't had a homemade dinner in a week. Maybe I'll shave off a couple hours here and make something for them. Oh, somebody at school needs help with X, Y, or Z. Maybe I'll spend half an hour on that.
yeah.
Protecting the space that I have for myself, is really important, and something that I still work on.
Yeah, I think many mothers can relate and just give yourself grace. You're incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your wisdom. Thank you so much for joining me on Run It Back.
Thank you.
We're excited to follow your journey. Where can we continue to learn more about Kristen?
Thank you. So I have an Instagram. It's just Kristen Kelman. I'm very unoriginal. And I'm on Facebook as well. And then most of my social activity is on Strava. It's Kristen Kelman. So you can follow
Bravo.
along and see how big Beach Run is growing, on Strava.
Amazing. Thank you so much for I'm definitely going to make sure that I follow you on Strava. I'm also a avid Strava user. You'll see like the most random things like walking to field trip. You're just going to see grocery shopping. So cheer me on for all the small victories as well.
I will
As I
kudos all of them.